I've changed up my surroundings a little bit for today's video. I actually happen to be on campus in my office today, which is definitely a strange and unusual thing, given that I've really only been in here once or twice in the past 6 months. Kind of strange to be on campus. It's basically a ghost town, but still really happy to be here. I noticed I had 3 missed calls on my phone, so I guess that's not a lot if you think about it, 6 months. Anyways, this video is going to be, we're going to be talking about talking. Because a lot of what you're going to be doing as a peer mentor is communicating with your mentee. Some of this communication might be done via typing. You're going to be sending them messages and they'll be sending you messages on whatever platform you're using to communicate. But some of the conversations might happen like over video or talking on a phone. Perhaps there's going to be a physically distanced conversation in your future. I'm not sure. But regardless, all of these ideas are still going to come in handy. Learning to be a good communicator is a great skill for everyone, no matter what. Again, it's one of those things that we use every day, but we don't always stop and think about. When I think about communication and wanting to have a really good conversation with someone in the context of a helping conversation or trying to get to know someone, I like to break down that conversation into a couple of discrete but maybe fuzzy stages. The very first stage is just simply listening to another person. So if your mentee comes to you and they says, hey, I want to talk to you about something, or I have a question, the very first thing you're going to be doing is just simply listening to them. And listening does mean actually hearing what they're saying or reading what they've written, but it also means really paying attention, not being distracted by other things that might be going on externally or especially internally. So when someone is coming to you and talking to you and they're in the phase of really explaining things to you, make sure you're focused on what they're saying, you're not distracted. You're listening intently to them. You're letting them know that you're listening to them by, the head nods, the mm-hms, and those kinds of things. The second thing, once you have listened to the person, they've told you what their question is, or maybe some sort of a difficult challenge that they're faced with, is you want to make sure that you actually understand what it is that they're telling you or what it is that they're asking you. And you can do that by reflecting back to them what you think your understanding is of what they've just told you. So they say, here's what I'm dealing with, and you go back, based on what you're telling me, I feel like you're saying that this is the issue. Am I correct? And they can give you feedback and say, yeah, that's exactly it. That's where I'm coming from. Or they can let you know, oh, that's not quite it. This is actually kind of what I meant. And maybe there's a little bit of back and forth there until we ensure that you actually have the correct understanding that matches what the other person is telling you. Because language can be a funny thing, right? You can say the same thing to 10 different people and maybe it gets taken 10 different ways. So you want to make sure that there is that common understanding of whatever the issue or question is. When we're reflecting back to a person too, there's sort of the technical content, if you will, about what they're telling you. You're telling me that you're having a hard time contacting one of your instructors. But you can also feed back to some of the emotional content about what they're sharing with you. So you're saying, you're telling me that you're feeling frustrated by talking with your instructor, and that's really starting to get you down and making it hard for you to concentrate. Right? It's also important to pick up on that information as well. The last stage that you move into is really helping someone try to work through or navigate whatever it is that they've brought to you. And there's going to be a whole separate video that's really going to look more in depth on what we call a strength-based, a solution-focused approach to being able to help an individual work through some kind of question or issue that they've brought to you. This video is really just to tell you that, it's about listening to a person, paying attention to the cues that they're giving you, verbal and non-verbal, to try and get a really good understanding of where you think that person is at or what it is that they're bringing to you.